Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Build a Kingdom Part 9, The Prison. Now, last episode, you may remember, we took on the Lords District. Now, this is an area where lords and noblemen, or the richer folk of our city, could hold properties in a richer area of the town. And as we pan across, we see how our kingdom is looking at the moment. Now, there's one big empty patch that glares at us next to the Mage Tower, and as we sweep around, you'll see that in a sec. It's the area we're going to be developing today. We're going to be building a prison to hold all of the criminals of our city, all of the scum, the villainous criminal scum. That's where they're going to go. They're going to go in, they're going to be locked up, probably throw away the key, although we may find it again because they need to be executed as well, especially the murderers and such. Now, I started by putting down circles using the circles guide you may remember that we referred to previously. There's a link to that in the information if you want to see the picture. I'd wanted to build the prison like I would a castle, only to keep people inside rather than keep them out. So you may kind of see a lot of similar elements that you might see with the castle that I built. I put down the framework for 3 large towers, and then one smaller but taller tower that'd serve as our watchtower, a place for guards to kind of look out across the yard, make sure none of the prisoners escape. Once they were mapped out, I put down the wood flooring and began to build up. Finishing the walkway there. On the wall on the right. Now I marked off floors every 4 blocks as usual to make sure that when we came back to windows we have a constant that'd preserve the heights of the windows and keep everything uniform. Now, the 3 larger towers became 2-tier towers, and once I'd added the crenellations, I put down a smaller capping tower in dark stone brick. The smaller tower was of course going to reach up higher than the others, so the guards can keep an eagle eye on our pesky prisoners. Make sure the perps don't make a run for it. And then I turned my attention to the walls. Now I wanted these to dip down in between the towers, but still have walkways so that you could get from tower to tower without having to go back to the ground floor. And then it was time to cap the towers with our traditional nether brick style roofs. Finishing up the walls that link the 2 towers, or rather the 3 towers, and perfecting the walkways. Then adding fence posts and another nether brick roof on the watchtower. Now, I'd left myself a little bit short of space inside the actual prison to build the cells, so I had to dig down a little bit to fit in the stone and iron cages for the perps of our kingdom. Now they're small and cramped, but that's exactly what I wanted. These guys are here to suffer, not live it up in luxury. Don't you just hate it like when you have a prison that's more like a hotel than a place for people to contemplate their evil doing? Well, not in our kingdom. In our kingdom, the prisoners suffer, and they suffer hard, with almost, I think, 4 squares for them to sit and stew in. And then once I'd done the left cells, I directed my attention to the wall at the front, which would become the wall that harbours the main gate. And then it was time to come to the right side and repeat the kind of cells, the style for the cells. Although I went down 1 block lower to fit them in because the roof was actually 1 block lower, so I had to amend my build pattern slightly. But I kept the same theme, and the cells remained almost the same as the ones on the other side. And then it was onto the kitchen at the back of the complex. Now, a prisoner needs to be well fed if he's going to hang properly. If you don't have enough food in your belly, you don't swing properly, apparently, I'm told. But yeah, anyway, speaking of hanging, it was time to put up the gallows. Now, I'd squared off an area in the middle with cobblestone steps and cobblestone blocks. And then once that was in place, I began work constructing our wooden deck and beams to hang the worst of the cut purses, murderers and thieves in our fair kingdom. You know, just to put the worst of these villains to death, because back in those days we had capital punishment in our kingdom. I'm sad to say we hadn't moved forwards, we hadn't adapted with the times, and you see me here trying out a few ideas with hatches, but finally settling on just having gaps and raising the gallows beams slightly as well. And then I came around to the front of the prison, touched up the walls slightly, modified and added the windows, and added a few stone brick steps here to make the whole place just look a little bit nicer. I know it's a prison and it shouldn't really look fantastic, but it's got to look better than just straight walls, right? Now it was time to add something that I'd been looking forward to doing for a while, the tunnels of our kingdom. Now people have suggested that I build in a train station, a subway with working minecart trains down below, but that doesn't really fit the theme of our city because it's an old medieval kingdom. So this is one of the many small tunnel openings that lead down to a network of tunnels underneath the city for faster or covert travel. You know, when you have a secret meeting with an elusive individual that you want to take place in the shadows, you might take these tunnels to get there. And then it was time to decorate the remaining areas of the city. I put down some fencing near the canals and added some white tree saplings in the middle of these marble squares you see here that are later sprout into the decoration of our fair city. Adding another subway tunnel section there to connect up to our underground network of tunnels. And then I moved over to the marketplace, and you see here I've added a couple of gardens just to beautify the area. These areas weren't big enough to build houses or put buildings in, and the city lacks decoration. You know, a pleasant city has to have an even ratio of, you know, recreation areas to actual structures and buildings. So it looks nice. And then we dive deep into the underground tunnels connecting our kingdom. Damp, dark and full of cobwebs. These are not exactly a clean way to travel, but definitely a quiet one. Definitely a covert, secret way to travel through the city. And that's it. That's our kingdom almost complete. We've got a cathedral, merchants district, slums, docks, a mage tower, look at that majestic bad boy, lords district, market square, and now finally a prison. As the camera sweeps around, we can take a look at that in all its glory. What we've done so far to maintain law and order and to lock away the criminals and villains of our city. Now stay tuned, because next episode we'll be hitting the countryside, looking at some of the outlying farms, adding roads, perhaps extra gates to the walls of our kingdom. So until then, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.